Abhijit,
Hi Srikanth, very good evening.
very good evening, Abhijit. How are you?
I'm good. It's Abhijat. Just
Sorry, I'm sorry. I
it's
I
fine, it's
got
fine.
used to this Abhijit, so I
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
get myself tuned to Abhijat.
That's more common,
How
yeah.
do people normally call you?
Yeah, most of the first timers they call me Abhijit.
Okay. So how has your week started, Abhijit, for you?
The week has been quite good, pretty much as per plan. I believe in planning my week and things are so far perfect.
Some fantastic. Okay, Abhijit, we have about 30 to 35 minutes outer limit.
Hmm,
There are about more than 40 people watching us having
that's
this
fine.
conversation. I want to let you know that this will most likely remain confidential within this group because it's a very close group. And when I ask questions, if you're uncomfortable responding to questions, please put your hand up and say, I will understand. In the meanwhile, if I get a feel that um, we are going all over the place, I may also just put my hand up and pause and get the conversation on track.
Hmm,
Okay.
sure.
So in the time we have together, what is that you would like to explore?
Yeah. I want to discuss something very interesting which happened a couple of weeks back. In fact, the thing happened more than a decade back, but I realized it. It's sort of a little bit funny. So I'll share the background. Maybe that will make more sense and what happened. So this incident is of around 2011 when me and my batchmates, we were just out of college and all of us were most of us were in our first jobs and we were getting married one by one. So I was still a bachelor at that time and one of our batchmates was getting married. And so two of us, me and one of my batchmates, we had planned to go to attend the wedding together. Somehow something came up, some official commitment came up, so I couldn't go. And I told this person, yeah, I'll not be able to go. You please travel and I'll apologize to this person separately. So he said, fine. So the funny, little bit striking thing is he kept calling me multiple times. How are we going to manage the gift? How are I found that little odd, and but since he called me two, three times for that, I said, okay, fine. Since you are going, you give a gift on both of us behalf, and we'll share the money. And I told him my budget. See, my budget is around 1,500, and that's so he attended the wedding. Then he post the wedding. He calls me and tells me, you have to pay me 2,100. I mean, nothing major about it, but still, that time something stuck me. Ki 1,500 and he's asking me for 2,100. But I did not pay too much thought to it, and I just paid the money and forgot about it. I took his bank account number, and so that's the story ends there. 2011. Now the funny thing, I was just going through Facebook and reflecting some of the old pictures and all, and suddenly it struck me suddenly that what actually happened is that he gave a gift of 2,100 rupees only and he took the complete amount from me. So the question which I have been in a bit of a dilemma is now, if I come across I mean, we have not been in touch very only through LinkedIn and Facebook. Apart from that, he has moved on in his life, I have moved on in my life. So sporadically we are touch, but in case I come across, it's a small world and we come across again in future, what should be my approach towards him?
So Abhijit, I'm hearing you share an event that got triggered for you more than a decade ago by going through a recent post on social media. Right now, there's a question in your mind. What should be the approach?
Hmm.
How are you feeling right now while you are sharing this with me?
Hmm. Of course, as a and of course, this incident has not really gone down very well with me. I mean, even though I'm realizing it, and it's sort of funny, and I'm asking myself, "Ki, why did it take me so many years to realize this thing?" But of course, this has not gone down very well with me. I mean, and I'm question, yaar, for 500-600 rupees, how can chalo, let's say it's more than a decade back, 500 rupees was worth, let's say 2000 rupees. For 1500, 2000 rupees, how can someone make up and to your batchmate? And we were close friends. So of course, it's not very good feeling as far as this individual's conduct is concerned. Then there is one more just thought coming that, which is more of, I'll say, a practical thought that array, it's more than a decade. He did something, and 99% this individual would have also forgotten about all that. It's just that by chance I remember somehow. So I mean, in case I bump across him, should I let it? Should I just forget and move on? And so it's a sort of a multiple thought.
I heard you say this has not gone down well with me
Hmm.
a couple of times.
Hmm.
What does that really mean to you?
Sorry.
What does that really mean to you?
Hmm. 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 I mean, I am myself a person who is very, very firm on his ethics on monetary aspects for sure. I can maybe, once this realization happened to me, I did a fair amount of thinking and I tried to place myself in his shoes. I tried to rationalize his conduct. So, one incident which came to my mind that sorry if I'm going into a little bit of stories, but one incident that once I was returning from airport from a business trip and I bump across one of my old friends and we were sharing the same route. So we shared the cab and he forced me, no, we are sharing, please take 500 rupees. And he forced me to take 500 rupees. I couldn't say no in front of the driver. But later on, I messaged him and said, sir, this was a business trip. My fare is getting reimbursed by the company. So please, I'm Google paying you your 500 rupees back. No need to pay. If I wanted, I could have easily kept that 500 rupees, but I can't do that. So I mean, it's difficult for me to rationalize. I mean, and we were quite good friends. We were in the same project group during our MBA, same project group. So we had a very decent rapport. And one important thing is this was this person whom I'm talking about, one of the brightest students of our batch, and he was the day day one placement during summers, day one placement during finals. He got placed in the best, and even today he's doing really well as a professional. I mean, I am somehow failing to rationalize this, this conduct.
Abhijit, from these two incidents that you have shared with me so far, I am getting the sense
Hmm.
there's perhaps some core value which is being challenged for you? I heard you mention about ethics around money.
Hmm.
What's going on?
I mean, see, generally, I am the sort of person who always tries to look from other side's perspective. And being an HR, that sort of becomes a part of your nature. Okay, maybe you never know what the situation on the other side is. And really, I have done all that in this, but somehow I can't rationalize this. And I always tend to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe there is some blind spot which I am not aware, but everything I can't find any reason which and for me personally, this integrity is very important. Either at least, okay, there are practical situations in life in which sometimes you don't always tell the truth, but your end motive is noble. Sometimes it is a practical. I don't need to get into the situations like this, but it is. But here, I mean, what is the end goal? You are just taking advantage of a situation. I mean, you know that I am not going to ask you for that gifts bill. You know that I am not going to call that person and check what exactly the gift you received. Basically, you just took advantage of the situation, right? I even question myself, ki, maybe some problem in my understanding. Is it possible that he actually gave a gift of 4200, which I assumed initially? But no, my gut is very clearly telling me, and no, that's not the reason. And he did take advantage of the situation. And yeah, I mean, so if I come back to this dilemma, which ठीक है, what he did fine. The dilemma which I have is what should be my approach towards him. I'm really um, because one is a practical side that which tells me it's very old. Then you need to maintain your contacts. It's a small world. You never know when you need anybody. And then there is one more side which tells me that what happens. I mean, the basic character of a person doesn't change until and unless there is some life defining situation which is an exception. Let us leave that aside. But so he did for say 500-600 rupees tomorrow, he will do for 5 lakh rupees today. So honestly, it's right now it's a little bit of a muddle.
So I heard this word integrity seems to be very close to you. I also heard you say that my gut tells me I'm right.
Hmm.
What makes you believe that your gut is right?
The kind of voice which I'm getting from within, and the my previous experience with my gut. And in fact, I am sort of mildly kicking myself also, because as I said, when he I still remember the phone. He said you need to pay 2100 rupees. There was a something clicked within me. Could sense there is something wrong. Why didn't I listen to my inner voice at that time? But okay, we were just freshers out of college. I'm sort of rationalizing, and and there was a belief, sort of a belief within me at that time. which with experience has got diluted. There was a belief that since I used to hold this person in very high regard, he was one of the, I'll say, the brightest of our kids. So something told me, yaar, such a guy can never do such a thing for some 500-600 bucks. So those sort of voices silenced the inner gut at that time. But to answer your question, yes, I know the kind of feelings I get from within when I listen to my gut, and it is very clear that it's not wrong.
Right now, if you have to ask your gut, what is the approach that you should take towards your friend? What is the answer you're getting?
I mean, somehow I can't fully say that this is the voice from gut or not, but the feeling which I am getting, that's let there be so many years, let all the practical considerations aside, this is not worth it. But then there are so many practical, I don't know what to call, but I tend to call them practical thoughts, that there are so many kinds of individuals in the world, and um, I mean, generally it will be very difficult to find if I start looking for a 100% value match in everyone. It will be very difficult to find. So if I start cutting off with everyone, then probably I'll be left with no one. I am myself sort of um, finding this funny, but this is what it is.
So I see you smiling and giggling, Abhijit. We passed the halfway mark in the conversation.
Hmm.
What has been useful for you in this conversation so far?
One thing is that through this conversation so far, that value of integrity has been reinforced. And I can say with double conviction, that is and that will remain a very important value for me, come what may. That is my something which I think I'll has been instilled since childhood, and I have a lot of gratitude towards my elders, my teachers, and this is who I am. And second, when you ask that question about gut, I could feel what exactly is the kind of feel that I get when I listen to my gut. That was a useful part.
So I'm hearing two useful things: reiteration of integrity as a value,
Mm,
and the feeling when I trust my gut and the inner voice. So the remaining 15 minutes that we have,
mm,
Abhijit, if you want to focus on something very specific and take away something very meaningful for you from this session,
Hmm.
what could that be for you?
It would be, I mean, the same. I want to be clear on my approach. In fact, I'll not limit my exploration to this individual, which I started with. Maybe I'll extend the question. What should be my approach to such kind of individuals? And if I start thinking about such individuals, maybe I'll land up with a score with whom I have had some conflict of values in student life, in professional life, even now. Okay, there are some values which are, but there are some core values. If there is some conflict of core values, what should be my approach with these individuals? Is just cutting off, is that the right way, or is there something else? It's very easy to cut off. I'll cut off, but is that the, and I'll be very honest here. The reason why this, because there have been one or two situations, not I'm it's been some years back where I did take this approach. And what happened is that I somehow, then I needed some favor from this individual. So I had to go back, and that individual was very helpful. He really helped me. And then I was questioning myself, am I taking the right approach in just cutting off?
So I'm hearing what should be my approach when there is a conflict in values with
You
someone
know,
else.
sorry to cut you. In fact, as I'm saying this, one thing which is coming up, which probably we can explore further, is maybe I'm getting a feel of a very black and white sort of an approach. Cut, no cut, cut, no cut. Is there some alternate approach or some middle path which I should look at? Because somehow I narrated this incident in the past, and somehow I am also just cutting off. Somehow, even though I understand this is something which is very important for me and something which is core to me in conflict of values, but just cutting off just doesn't seem to be the right solution to me.
Abhijit,
Hmm.
by end of this conversation, how would you know that you're making progress towards this right approach for you, that way that you want to define?
I think I already feel that I'm making progress. This thing is a very is a good. It's fine. Maybe 30-35 minutes are not sufficient to reach a full answer, but this realization, when I say should I cut off, I at that time I got a feeling that maybe I am taking a very black and white approach. So and we know the world is full of shades of gray. So maybe I just need to define what is the gray here and what should be my approach towards this gray. I think that itself is a good progress. And maybe I think further we can further explore it.
So I'm hearing it need not be black and white, it could be shades of gray.
Yes.
And if you're able to identify that shade of gray for yourself,
Hmm.
how would your life change?
I would get clarity. I would not, for example, I meet this person in a coffee shop tomorrow. I'll not have that dilemma in my head, and which becomes evident in my approach. I will know what kind of box to place the individual is in. When I say box, what I mean is that basically all of our old friends, batchmates, there is a certain place that, oh, this person was like this person was like this, certain boxes they are all in. And this person was in a sort of a very high box. But because of this, that has sort of shaken. So I want to place this individual in the right box so that tomorrow I know how to. I don't want to throw the box out altogether.
Putting people in the right box.
Hmm.
So Abhijit, right now, the way that I am gathering, you are in a place of black and white, and you want to go to a place of the shades of gray, the right gray that you want to identify.
Hmm.
For us to go from the black and white to the gray that you are looking for,
Hmm.
what are certain things that you feel that we should focus together so that we can start moving toward that gray that you want to get to?
Hmm. So first, let me think about what exactly is the black and white. Maybe the black part will be cut off. Maybe the white part will be my earlier version of him. Oh, he's a really great guy. This is a guy whom I look up to. That's the white part. So there are some thoughts that are coming up, which when I think of gray, that not everybody is perfect, and there are individuals have their own way of thinking. They have their own way of rationalizing to themselves. I'm sure this individual, what he did, he would have rationalized to himself in some way. I have thought about this also, that he would have rationalized, like, I'm paying the airfare, I'm paying the train fare, I'm going taking the trouble. What's the big deal if I just adjust my fare through this? Funny as it may seem, but these all rationalizations I have. Hmm. Eh, one one individual whom I'm recalling, as I'm thinking about this, and he's a really a very very senior. He was a president, human resource of one of my previous organizations, and a very very mature and a very very, I'll say, spiritual leader, if I can use that word for him. And he is a really a gentleman whom I look up to and whom I aspire to be. Maybe not in terms of his designation, but in terms of his persona, the kind of warmth he used to bring to every conversation. So one thing which I noticed about him is that he never uh, had any sense of enmity towards anyone. There were individuals who were really, I'll say, bad people managers. They had really low scores on the engagement. I mean, all sort of things, that they had some issues with them. But when I see him speaking to this, and I really have this very bad image about this person X. Array, he is not, he doesn't deserve to be an HR. He what a But when I find this gentleman speaking to Mr. X, he's speaking with the same love, same warmth, same kind of presence, same persona. And I am amazed as well as I am secretly admiring him. Wow, how does is he able to do that? But at the same time, that individual was very professional. If he's talking to him in this way with full love, but if he feels that because of these bad traits, he will not offer him a role in his organization, if he feels that there is a person job misfit. So Probably I am, and of course I need to put more. This is just thought right now. I need to spend more time thinking about it. But maybe what is coming to me is that cutting off is not the right solution. Maybe when I bump across him, I can still maintain the same, like any two old friends who meet. I can still maintain that same, and I can still not only maintain on outward, I can still feel the same for him. I don't know how it will come. That's a separate thing. It's difficult to make that, get that feeling. But if there is a similar situation, at least I will have this in mind that this is something he did previously, so I have to be careful. I will not have the same level of blind trust which I once had.
Abhijit, I noticed a slight change in the way that you are expressing right now from where we started. How are you feeling right now when you're sharing this with me about the same person?
No, I am really feeling something positive within me. And that positivity is coming from the fact of this realization that cutting off is not the answer. And somehow, my default tendency was to sort of cut off. But somehow I had that uncomfortable feeling that cutting off is not the answer. So that is where this is coming from. Yeah.
So, Abhijit, we are running short of time
Hmm.
for like 3 minutes. What have you learned so far in this conversation?
I am very clear. I mean, this my value has been reinforced. I did explore my gut, and I could feel that, as I said earlier. And then this reinforcement, which which is in terms of knowledge, it was already there. Maybe I was not able to bring it in this situation. But this reinforcement and relation to this situation about the shades of gray, and uh, and then this when suddenly during the conversation I pictured that senior leader whom I look up to, and went back to one of his conversations, and I tried to relate it to my situation. That was a wonderful realization that maybe this is something I can try to think on and build myself on.
Abhijit, we are running short of time. So, what we will do is, if you still further want to explore on this topic,
Mm,
we can connect offline, schedule some time, and have a longer conversation. I really want to appreciate the fact that you put up your hand and brought yourself here while so many other people, more than 40 people, are watching us to bring a delicate topic and put yourself out there, make yourself vulnerable, and freely share whatever that you want to share without any apprehensions. I really want to appreciate it. We have a minute. Uh, how would you like to take maybe about 30 seconds and summarize the entire conversation and close this conversation for yourself?
so I think I started with the situation, and then of course I started with my feeling of not feeling good at all, and then I explored my values, my guts. Then I wanted clarity on my approach, and then through the discussion, this realization that world is full of shades of gray, and this is an approach which is feeling right, both cognitively as well as emotionally, is feeling the right, looking like the right approach to me. This is my major takeaway, and I would like to first do some independent thinking further on this, and then maybe if I would be request you if we can have a further one-on-one on this.
I wish you all the best on your reflective thinking. And whenever you feel that you need to connect with me. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
And thank you so much for your time and giving me this space to really. And some of the questions were really powerful. Thank you so much, Srikanth.
Wish you all the best. We can bring everybody else into the. Where are we? Vijit Singhal. Okay. All right. Please go ahead and share your observations. Rakesh. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening once again. So again, just
Good
want to
evening.
say it was really a good session for me as an individual, and again I again compliment Abhijat. I mean, he opted for being the client. So I have only one question actually to you, Srikanth. Uh, because I was seeing from a point that it is a case of being incomplete. I'm just seeking your uh, point on that. So whatever happened, obviously, I mean, it has gone well. But the thing which was coming into my mind, it was a case of being incomplete. So when I say being incomplete means obviously he had an incident 12 years back, and where obviously uh, and obviously ultimately he has said that he will look into a part that he does not have to cut off, he has to. But the point which was coming into mind, he still remains incomplete. So now this incompletion has happened between two people, him and his friend. I was wondering, was there a possibility uh, of putting up a question where seeking something that has he discussed this thing with the friend? So now, because he has gone by his gut feel, okay, and he feels, and so that completion part is missing. Because if I have problem with somebody, one, I can have a rational thinking, or maybe I can think that okay. But the point now, he's saying he will behave in the same manner. He would like to have that continuity with the person. But if I am putting myself into his situation, I feel that that incompletion will keep on bothering me. It will keep on coming to me. It will keep on coming to me. And I mean, when I come into this situation, so normally what I do, if I am affected by somebody, I talk to that person. So I was just thinking, will this incompletion will continue to, and will it be a right approach during the session to, while all other things happen, somewhere get the client into that thing, and having that awareness that is that completion had been done, which can happen only by talking to the other person. Uh, Pardon me if I missed that, because I could not find that he has talked to the person about that. You know, I have a doubt that and then maybe I'm just putting this thing. I mean, I'm just taking your input on that. That comes into my mind that though obviously as a coach I don't have to tell or I have to direct, but somewhere sharing. I mean, getting this awareness about that, is that completion happened or not? Because this completion has not happened, so that comes into my mind. I thought I should put up this thing. That's it. I hope
Shraddha,
I was able to.
yeah, Shraddha, you put your hand up. So you put your hand up to ask a question or to answer, Rakesh?
Earlier I put for to ask the question, but now to answer Rakesh.
Please go ahead and answer.
Yeah, Rakesh ji was actually saying something.
No, I said, I hope I was able to, I mean, everybody had understood what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
I'm talking about from the point of completion and incompletion. So when
yeah,
incompletion remains, then it keeps on bothering you. That's why it came into my mind that because during the discussion, I think it was not there that has he talked to that person or not. I mean, obviously, that is the point.
Rakesh, I could understand what you were feeling, and while you were saying that, since I think many of us must have gone through this kind of a situation, so I was just thinking that where Abhijat has arrived, he has not sought closure only with this person. Actually, he has sought closure with everyone, and for any future such incidents or whatever, he is at peace with himself. He doesn't need to find closure with anyone, and it applies to everyone with whom he has faced this kind of a problem, or he is going to face this kind of a problem in the future. So I think what he has achieved today is much, much bigger than finding closure with just one person. That is my take.
Okay, hi, this is Manisha. So I had a similar thought which Shada had. Had it been about a particular instance, right? If coach would have sort of, went ahead and asked about that particular instance, it would have been about getting stuck with that story of the client. And then it would have been like dissecting one instance, one story. But the approach which coach had taken is more about the person, the individual Abhijat as a person, what he feels about it, and that pattern would not get repeated with others as well as what my thought is. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So first of all, let me be honest. This is the second or third time I'm bringing this topic, and the reason I brought it today because earlier discussions did not lead me anywhere. And one of the reasons they did not lead me anywhere because some of the coaches took a similar approach. So first of all, I mean, as a person, I did answer that 99%, 99.99% the person himself will not remember this incident after so many years. And secondly, my gut. So when a coach is trying to it will be, in short, it will become a leading question, and it will not be a partnership of equals when you are saying that if you did you try to close.
Hi, Sudha.
Hi, Shri. Hi, everybody. Rakesh, listening to you, I had two questions popping in my head. One is, what exactly do you mean by completion? And I'm just wondering, whose need is this?
My mentees are getting smart and smart. I'm so happy.
See, actually, I have not said that this approach, I was seeking that, kind of a, if that would have been approach, I was just seeking that thing, nothing else. And if you see completion, incompletion again is a very big subject, right? And I've gone through extensive program on training on that from Landmark. So that is why that thing, somewhere that Landmark training, coaching, because I have attended 3.5 days live coaching programs and all. So this is where, that thing popped up in my mind that, one way could be completely giving up and then move on. Incident happened, not making stories out of it, and then Other way is, if you are not able to do, then the other, you complete with the person who has actually the reason for that. So that is why, it came into my mind, and I, put up that thing. Simple.
I'll answer that, Rakesh.
Yeah.
The completion should be client's agenda and not the coach's agenda. Okay, number one. Number two is, when you are coaching a client, you are coaching the person and not the problem. Right? And when he said about the gut, the strong feel of the gut, it's intuition, you are coaching the person, right? So he said, my gut, I can feel it, it doesn't lie. So if he felt that according to his gut, he has to speak and whatever that you said, has to do it. He will do it in his reflective thinking process after the session. That he will do it. Why should I break my head? Are you with me on this?
Yeah, so that is why I raised this thing. So why
Right,
take my
so-
mind?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, this is a lab, so any question can be asked, so no problem.
Yeah.
So always remember, as a coach also, you don't have to resolve for the issue in the conversation, because the moment you decide to do that, you have taken the monkey on your back, your conversation will go all over the place. Okay. And what is the most important thing? What is the main role of a coach is to raise the level of awareness. He's got a new level of awareness. And it's not my budget, it's not my agenda also. He got it, right? Now, he will go sit and reflect. And he will take some actions, he may not take some actions. Not taking actions also is taking actions only, right? Now, if you feel that he has not been able to resolve whatever is not, he will schedule some time with me and we will do further exploration, right? So when a client comes to you with an issue, don't expect that the issue will get resolved in one session. That's the mistake a lot of coaches make. That is the entire thing. Wow, I have to do. No, you got 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 1 hour also you can't. You need a lot of time. Yeah, somebody else put the hand up. Pooja.
Yeah, Shri, thanks.
Sorry, Archana also. Pooja, you go first and I call Archana.
Yeah.
Sorry, Archana.
So
Yeah.
thanks, Abhijat. And I was stunned by your openness and the kind of awareness that came up for you. So Shri, I just jotted down some of the questions that came up in my mind while I was hearing the session. So is it okay if I share that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So when he said that um, he said that I am also mildly kicking myself. And so one thing I heard that Abhijat, you're upset with your batchmate, and I'm also hearing an upset with your own self. So I wanted to frame a question there. When I'm replaying this to you, what are you feeling? Or what is I don't know, I would have wanted to frame something there. Then another thing, when you spoke about the middle path, I love the metaphor. So I wanted to use that metaphor, and I wanted to say something like, what would the middle path look like for you? And I also could have, I think I might want to say that, what would it feel like? What would walking on the middle path feel like? That is the other question. And another thing that struck me when you said it was a very clear statement you made. You said somebody I had a similar experience with, and I cut him off. But later I needed his help, and again I went to him, and he was very helpful. So it came to my mind that I will replay this back to you, and then I would ask, while I'm replaying it, what's coming up for you? Because you also said just after that, nobody's perfect. So I was hearing a lot of nobody's perfect kind of, I was sensing that from you. So I just wanted to replay it back. That is 2, 3 things. Another thing, Shri, what came up in the beginning for me was Abhijat said, I've moved on, he's moved on, and we don't meet each other. But I still want to rationalize his behavior. So a question that came up, I don't know if it's very appropriate, but what is making it so important for you to rationalize his behavior? So, since you will not meet him, so again, I was sensing that it was Abhijat's need, that completion that Rakesh is talking about, his completion within his own self, not so much about the other person. So these are some thoughts that came up. So
all of these questions are great questions, and especially the first question that you said, what is making it important for you to rationalize, a good question. So based on the response, the conversation could have gone anyway. Okay.
yeah.
So this is the most important thing that you need to realize, that based on what you are picking up as a coach and what you are asking, conversation will go anywhere, and from the same topic, the client will get multiple awareness based on how the conversation. So maybe if he sat with you and had a conversation, you would have got a different level of awareness.
Yeah.
Sometimes if the awareness is obvious, you don't want to ask about it. He already said, hey, I cut off somebody when I needed a help. I went back to him and whatever, right? But that's awareness has already happened. So why unnecessarily go and dig that? That's the reason I didn't ask. But otherwise, whatever questions that you asked were very good questions. Ram, you raised your hand. You may want to ask.
Yeah, thanks, Lee. First of all, thanks to Abhijit for being so vulnerable and be open, right? So my question to you is, Lee, when during the exploration phase, I got the impression that the challenge could be related to his relationship with money, right? Abhijit's relationship with money. That was the thought going in my mind. So if I were to coach, I would have asked the questions to drive the conversation that way, but you didn't take that way. You asked his values and we got his values out and so on and so forth.
Right.
So did those type of thoughts pop up in your mind? And how did you, obviously you're the master coach and all that, but for us to help us, how do we not engage in our judgment of the others versus keep it to the client, so can you just talk a little bit about it?
So basically he used the phrase ethics around money.
Yeah.
Okay, he didn't say money. He said ethics around money. So that's the reason I felt that he said it's taking too much of my mind space. And previously had used a few words. And I felt, okay, let me just see if something is occupying your mind space too much, then there's some core values not getting aligned. That's the gut. I mean, he has a gut which is very strong. I have a gut which is pretty strong as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dimple, go ahead.
Just a
Hey, sorry,
Srikanth,
Archana. Sorry,
Srikanth.
Archana, you raised your hand and you put it down and I forgot you. Dimple, just hold on. Archana, go ahead. Yeah, Abhijit, just hold on because I never gave an opportunity for her to ask.
Sure.
Go ahead, Archana.
So it was a great conversation, and while I feel the context was about money, that was just a context, but actually I feel the path that Srikanth has taken is more about when we are dealing with people where our core values get conflicted, and this can be in several situations across in relationships, like siblings, with friends, and where you're expecting fairness, and then you don't know, should I break out? And three important things which Abhijat himself brought in the conversation is, but cutting off is not a good thing. So that is not about one thing, but it is cutting off is not a good thing. He also brought a observation of one of his seniors who's dealing with situations where he's objectively looking into what is sense giving, right, but at the same time he's being empathetic and compassionate. So that's an inspiration that he's wanting to draw from there.
And I feel this question of going about core values was very beautiful because somewhere you brought him to the thing that, okay, it's like moderation, every walk of life. It's like we can't just, everybody will come with their own problems. But had it gone on the money track, I think it would have gone wrong. So I think he has drawn a lot of things through your questions that, you know, what is your gut saying now, and which is that core value which is actually getting kind of challenged there, that opened up a complete different spectrum for him. So I feel it's not just about money, but it's basically that conflict of core values. And I think in various situations, all of us face that. So I really love that. This is what I drew from the conversation, gave me a lot of inspiration to deal with things. Thank you, Srikanth and Vijat. Yeah.
Yeah, Simi, just hold on now. Abhijit wanted to say something and Dimple wanted to say something. I'll allow them to share and then I'll come to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, yeah, thanks, Shrikant. First of all, yeah, it was never about money, not at all. So, yeah, the discussion went in the very, very right direction. Just a quick thought on the Pooja's question. Some Pooja, all the observations you made, like mildly kicking myself and all that, they were very genuine observations, and definitely good questions could have been asked. But that mildly kicking myself was not exactly the it was a question for me, but not the key aspect which I was looking for. So maybe in this kind of situation, a good option is to ask, I heard you talking about mildly kicking yourself. Is that something that you would like to explore? And of course, I would have said, no, I don't want to explore that part.
Yeah. Dimple, are you still there?
Yeah, hi Srikanth.
Go ahead.
Hello everybody. I think Srikanth, you showed immense patience. Probably if I would have been as a coach, I would have actually held the collar and said, "What's bothering you?" But coming back to actual coaching side of it, I would have actually gone into a little bit of more of slicing because I felt that the client is going in circles and he's not coming to one particular point. So sometimes he's mentioning that there's an ideal, he would like to follow that person. Then he's talking about his senior. Then he's trying to slate people in the boxes. So possibly, as you obviously said, that it would take many more sessions to slice it down. So probably I wanted to understand that now when we are leaving the client at this point, would he not be a little in ambiguity because the session is not for me probably if I would have been there it would not have been some ways responsive. So how do we leave these kind of sessions in between feeling that that client can fulfill himself for let me say for a day's time till the time he reverts back to me, or how do we go about this ending part of
Okay. So, because I had to close in 35 minutes, we close. He said, I'm going to reflect, right? When he said he's going to reflect, I would have asked questions. I think somebody asked a very similar question. I think Vandan asked, I'm going to respond. Hey, Abhijit, when you say you're going to reflect, what exactly do you mean by reflecting? I'm using the word by because I'm coming to the doing level now, right? What do you really mean by reflecting? So you will say A, B, C, D. Okay, perfect. Now, out of the A, B, C, D, which one would you like to prioritize and start working on? Okay, you will say A, what have B order. When are you going to start? What strengths are you going to use? Just narrow everything down for the client and say, okay, so between this session and the next session we meet, what I'm hearing you say is that you're going to take this action, blah, 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 and then close.
Thank you. Beautifully said. Thank you so much. I was in confusion, so thank you very much.
Yasimi, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Coach. So for me, few things, Coach, what I wanted to share. This conversation was a chance for me to observe an MCC level coach coaching a client. Now, from what I have been learning from you over last more than a year now, it was a demonstration of few things that stood out for me. One, listening to the client story fully but gently veering towards from the doing to being. I actually saw a demonstration of that, and that is a valuable learning for me, that how exactly you do. Because as a coach, I feel that how much ever I try, I keep getting stuck in the client story, and then all those questions keep coming, why, which doesn't lead. Secondly, playing on the silent part. Every time you kept quiet, he was coming up with so much more. You were not actually, honestly speaking, how not to put an effort. There was no trying. I mean, the way you kept quiet, and he poured out. He poured out. And with everything, he was again going into his awareness. For an individual to come with a conflict of value and to realize that the world is not black and white and there can be shades of gray, for me to see that happen in a 30-minute conversation itself is a huge takeaway today.
I agree.
That we always have these limits in our mind, that, how much you can talk. The truth is, it is not about how much you can talk. It is between two conversations, what the client is going to think, and whether you have led the client, you have walked with the client to that point where, okay, now come on boss, it's your territory, socho, what is the thing that you want to think about? So for me, that really held out. And even, it was not just his value about that one event. There was a niceness in him that he really wanted to touch upon, that why should I give this? And there was a tussle between two values going on. So for him to speak about it with the help of your questions and bringing him to that level was something that I loved watching. And of course, just because the coachee was so vulnerable, it's not an easy. Today it is money. I could talk about some very close relationships with whom I can, have this kind of issues. It may not be money. It could be how we work or how we do things. But doing and being that iceberg I saw today, and for me that is most important. Thank you so much.
Yep. I don't know how many of you noticed this. When I actually, for him, the awareness happened a little early, but we still explored. When I asked this question, when you ask your gut what you should be doing about the approach, what are you hearing? And he went silent for 2 minutes. I don't know how many of you watched. He may have not realized that. It's deep reflection, because I am not sure whether he was expecting a question like that, but that was a very important question. Right now, we can't go back to say, no, my gut is going to lie. It's a very challenging question. It's a very subtle, challenging question, which I don't know, maybe some shift happened there. I have no idea, because he is the best person to answer. Yeah, Sripath, I'll just come to you, Abhijan. Yeah, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah. First of all, it's a great session. Thank you, Srikanth. Thank you, Abhijan. And I made maybe pages and pages of notes, complete transcript of this. And I'm going through similar situation. Like, we are kind of trying to practice with some peer coaches, similar situation which I am trying to handle with myself. And now that I have this transcript, I will play that transcript on myself. And I think some lot of good revelations will come out of this. So a great session. Thank you. And this is some great script for me to play on myself.
All right. I think we have gone on top of time.
Srikanth, a very quick question.
Sure.
So during the last part, when we spoke about, okay, so I'll do some reflection and then maybe we can have a one-on-one. So do you think it's a good idea to set ask a client, like, sometime, would you like to set some timeline? And
100%. 100%. Yeah, you said you were going to do a reflection. I'll just give you some things that you can. Hey, I'm hearing you say that you're going to do some reflection after this conversation. What will this reflection give you? Okay, ask the question. Significance of the reflection. Okay. What are certain things that you will do to know that you are reflecting? Actions. Okay, now being is done, now you're on the doing them, right? Okay, let's say A, B, C, D, whatever. Okay, now out of this, which one would you think will be more beneficial to you? When are you going to start? Okay, what strengths that you have within you are you going to leverage? How will you make sure that you're going to be sent on track? And all. Okay, just to help you all of that, I have done a master class on awareness to actions. It's a 90-minute masterclass. I will send you the link. Watch it and share your reflections. Exact same question you're asking. I've decoded the entire thing. Watch it and let me know. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. With that, we shall meet next month. Rashmi, you and I are twinning. Did you notice that? Yeah. Simi, you're looking very tired, Simi. I don't know what's happening in
Yeah,
Dubai, wherever you
I'm not. I have not been well since last 1 week, Coach.
I
That's
can
why.
see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for
Sudha.
this.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Thank you, Shri. Thank you, Abhijat.
All right. Bye.
Lovely
Bye.
session.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.